After 26 days of waiting, Mikel Arteta's Arsenal have made their return, smashing Lyon 3-0. So from Fabio Vieira's thunderbolt to Eddie Nketiah's shining, let's break the game down, as well as getting a transfer update on a potential blockbuster move for Joao Felix. Yo, what is going on, guys? My name is Babs14 and welcome back to your boys channel. The Arsenal are back in action, back with the goals, back with a dub. It is beautiful scenes. So if you enjoy the content, make sure to go down there to smash a like and also subscribe to the channel if you are new. So close to 130k, let's make it happen. We're starting off with the 5 things we learned from Arsenal 3, Lyon 0. The return of Mikel Arteta's Arsenal, and it was fantastic. It was free flowing and it was over in the first half. But the first thing that we have to talk about is the lineup. The team itself wasn't a surprise, but the surprise instead was the absence of Alexander Zinchenko. And why it's so weird is because Zinchenko was spotted in Arsenal training. There's been no news from Arsenal or an update from Mikel Arteta to claim there's an injury, but that also could mean that it's nothing serious. But what about Emil Smith-Rowe? Despite not being involved in the Arsenal squad, Mikel Arteta says he's getting closer and closer, so hopefully he'll be ready soon. Now ESR is in Dubai training with the Arsenal team, and our next game is on the 14th of December against AC Milan, and maybe that's a game where we can see both Zinchenko and Emil Smith-Rowe. But in terms of the standout Arsenal players, we have to start off with Fabio Vieira and his superstar Sainz. And I say signs because it was a bit of a hit and miss game. At the start he was a bit wayward and a bit wasteful, but playing on the right hand side as he grew into the game, he assisted the Arsenal second on a devastating counter-attack, and moments later followed it up with an absolute screamer. We are talking top bins, we are talking ball striking excellence, and that's what Fabio Vieira is about. When he's given time and space and when he grows in confidence, if Arsenal can get him in the gym and on the weights, then as he gets stronger and further adapts, Vieira is showing signs of being a devastating player. The third thing we have to talk about is Eddie Nketiah's shining. Just days after the injury news of Gabriel Jesus, there was a lot of eyes and pressure on Eddie Nketiah, and in this game we saw so many promising signs. And we're not even talking about his goal, I'm talking more about his hold-up play, especially in the Arsenal third goal. And in that build-up there is a fantastic moment where Eddie Nketiah traps the ball on the left-hand side of the pitch, and that is something that we have been seeing from Gabriel Jesus. And even though there's so many rumours of a new potential signing, at the same time as Arsenal fans we have to believe in Eddie Nketiah, because as we saw last season, when he gets confidence and consistent games, Eddie can be very effective. Another shout out to Gabriel Magalhaes, who scored once again in this game, a fantastic header from a corner, and that is now 2 goals in his last 2 games. And in terms of a goal scoring centre back, he's up there with the best. In fact, he has the most goals from centre back since the start of last season. And in terms of his overall game, it was also fantastic. Great in terms of defending and being aggressive on Alexander Lacazette. His passing was very secure, and it's been a very fantastic reaction ever since he was left out of the Brazil squad. Gabriel is a very emotional centre back, so for him to use that to his advantage, it's an example of him growing. The fourth thing that we have to talk about is the Arsenal youngsters shining. In the second half, Mikel Arteta made a host of first team changes, bringing on the future of the likes of Rui Waters, Lino Sosa, Wanyeri, and the game may have been 3-0, but when you have the experienced players that Lyon had on the pitch, and then you have Arsenal with 15 and 16-year-olds, for them to come out and not concede a goal and even cause some issues, we saw a glimpse into the future, and the likes of Lino Sosa and Wanyeri were so impressive. But then you have Karl Hein, who kept a clean sheet on the day and then went on to save 4 penalties. It's great for his confidence and also going into the future. When you have Ramsdale, who has the most clean sheets in the Premier League, you've got Matt Turner, who is thriving at the World Cup, and then you've got an Estonia international as your third choice. There is a decent level of squad depth. The fifth thing that we have to talk about is the free-flowing Arteta ball. This Arsenal team looks sharp, and up against a Lyon team which had the captain and Lacazette and most of their experienced players, to make them look average with your second and third team, for Mikel Arteta it is a promising sign that these players below the first team are growing, and these players are understanding playing football the Mikel Arteta way. As Mikel Arteta says, we played to win and today we won and played really well. We are playing in different conditions. I think the way the players have trained, they will be ready for the first game on Boxing Day. And next up for Arsenal is a game against the Serie A champions AC Milan. Moving on to the breaking Arsenal news, and we're starting off with our number 9, our striker Gabriel Jesus, and the confirmation from Arsenal that he has successfully undergone surgery on his right knee. And here is a photo of Jesus confirming it himself with a simple caption, "I will be back stronger." And with the reports claiming that he has undergone an MCL surgery, he could be out for up to 3 months. And this is the exact same injury suffered by Granit Xhaka last season, and he was able to make an early return. Regardless, it is a gargantuan blow for Arsenal and their race for the Premier League title. And according to the Telegraph, Gabriel Jesus' injury could force Arsenal into the transfer market in January, and Mikel Arteta had wanted to add a wide forward to freshen up his attack and add competition. But in terms of strikers, let's talk Tammy Abraham. According to reports in Italy, Roma will sell Tammy Abraham if they can get around 45 million euros, and the player is not happy at the Italian club, with other sources claiming that Arsenal are still interested. Tammy Abraham has struggled this season. He was not selected for the England World Cup squad, and he is definitely a player that Arsenal have tried to sign in the past. And standing 6'4" in height, he'd actually be a different profile to Gabriel Jesus. For me, if Arsenal are going to sign an English striker, that player should be Ivan Toney. He has been on fire for Brentford this season, bagging 10 goals in 14 Premier League appearances, and he would be a 2-in-1 profile. He's able to link up play and play as a false nine. He can get a lot of assists. He can be a creative type of profile. He is a very physical striker, and we've seen it against Arsenal. But also in terms of that goal scoring, he is showing this season that when he is given the chances, he does have the goal scoring potential, and he'd also be a fantastic alternative to Gabriel Jesus and give Arsenal a fantastic level of squad depth. But what about Joao Felix, who was on fire for Portugal as they progressed into the quarterfinals of the World Cup, showing some great skills and ball carrying and also getting 2 assists. And that game was an example of all the fundamentals and all the potential of Joao Felix. And he seems like a player that has been held back by Atletico Madrid, and that is why he wants to leave. So as the Atletico CEO confirms, the relationship between the coach and Joao Felix is not good, nor his motivation. The most reasonable thing is to think about him leaving, even if I would love for him to stay, but it is not his will. Confirmation from the club itself, the player wants to leave. So in terms of Arsenal, according to the reliable Matteo Moretto, Arsenal and Mikel Arteta are among the clubs that have asked about Joao Felix, while Atletico have set a starting price at 140 million euros, and the player wants to join the best project. He might be Atletico's club record signing, but that price tag is outrageous. And according to Fabrizio Romano, Joao Felix has chances to leave Atletico in 2023, and he dreams to play in the Premier League. Liverpool have just signed Darwin Núñez, and Man City have Erling Haaland. Chelsea are closing into signing Christopher Nkunku, and that leaves both Arsenal and Manchester United as possible destinations. But there's no chance that Arsenal spend that sort of money in January. So in terms of a more viable method, according to Ruben Uria, Atletico Madrid would prefer to sell Joao Felix to a club in the Premier League, and that a loan with the obligation to buy is also an option. And according to previous reports, that is a method that Arsenal have tried twice in the past. Maybe it's going to be third time lucky, and it's definitely the only way that Arsenal can sign him in January. But at the same time, is he worth that insane price tag? And in terms of Mikel Arteta, according to Charles Watts, he trusts in Eddie Nketiah, and that is why he works so hard to keep him in the summer, and neither he or Edu will bring someone in if they do not believe he is the best for the long term. I think the signing of Joao Felix is more exciting to the fan base than it is to Mikel Arteta. Arsenal have a different plan, and they want to give Eddie Nketiah his opportunity. So as Granit Xhaka says, we need to support Eddie Nketiah because he will be a big part for the next 2 or 3 months. Talk to me down below in the comments, and do you believe in the absence of Gabriel Jesus, Eddie Nketiah can step up? But in terms of the wide forwards, reported Arsenal transfer target Mikel Mudryk has reposted an Instagram story sharing a graphic suggesting his price tag is now at 40 million euros. It's starting to get a bit repetitive now, but Mudryk is dropping hint after hint, interview after interview, and looks like a player that is on his knees to come to the Emirates Stadium. But moving on to the other Arsenal news today, and starting off with a World Cup update as Granit Xhaka is set to make his Arsenal return, as Switzerland were knocked out 6-1 by Portugal, and after the game Xhaka has revealed that he is flying straight to Arsenal's training camp in Dubai. The prime example of why Arsenal are in Dubai, because it is so close to Qatar, and it makes it so much easier for the likes of Xhaka to get straight back into the Arsenal rhythm. But then you have a heartbroken Takehiro Tomiyasu. Following Japan's exit from the World Cup, Tomiyasu has described his performance as a disaster and said he did not know when he would be joining up with Arsenal, and said, hopefully I can get a bit of a rest, I need time to forget about football. Tomiyasu is definitely being harsh on himself, but at the same time the player is clearly devastated. But at the same time he has been spotted joining up with the Arsenal squad in Dubai. But in terms of emotionally, I'm just a little bit concerned about Tomiyasu because it seems like he has taken that exit to heart, and let's wait and see if Tomiyasu and Xhaka are going to be involved in the game against AC Milan. But what about the Arsenal players still at the World Cup? Well, of course you have Gabriel Martinelli, who is going to be involved as Brazil take on Croatia in the World Cup quarterfinals. He might not start, but I do expect him to make an impact off the bench. And then on Saturday you have Bukayo Saka versus William Saliba as England take on France. And Bukayo Saka is of course in the race for the Golden Boot, having scored 3 goals so far. That is joint second alongside the likes of Lionel Messi. Moving on to the Arsenal Academy Director Per Mertesacker. According to Bild, Germany are looking for several candidates to replace Director of Football Oliver Bierhoff, who has resigned, and Arsenal's Head of Academy Per Mertesacker is one of the names. You look at the exciting players that Arsenal have coming through right now, and Per Mertesacker plays a massive part to why they have been so good. Hill End is looking brighter than ever, even though the likes of Mikel Arteta and Edu Gaspar get all the limelight. In many ways, Per Mertesacker is in charge of the future of the club, and the job that he has done is definitely underrated. And now that great work has been noticed by the German national team, my fingers are crossed that he stays at Arsenal and continues to do the amazing job in the Amazon Prime delivery service of top talents that is Hill End. But that is the video there and there, so hopefully you guys have enjoyed. If you have, smash a like and also subscribe to the channel if you are new. If you want to follow your boy on all of his social medias, then the links are down below in the description. But that was all of today's latest Arsenal news as we make an emphatic return. 3 goals to no, it's things you love to see, and the return of the Premier League is getting closer and closer. So I will see you guys next time. Take care of yourselves and in a bit.